If I had the time and budget to make the whole documentary, the other footballers who would have featured would have been Paul Gascoigne, Tony Adams, Dean Ashton and Richard Flash, and their stories would have been equally as interesting to the target audience, but for different reasons. For example, Paul Gascoigne's case would have not been as positive as Lowry's because instead of going on to coaching, he never overcame his personal demons and struggles with alcohol and drug problems, which fit Stanley Hall's theory concerning youth seeking excitement in drink and drugs, as younger people in the audience could find excitement in seeing this character's negative self-destructive behaviour. I was also very careful to follow genre conventions when creating my ancillary products promoting my documentary. I decided that the institution that was best matched for my product was Channel 5, as the target audience for this channel matched my primary audience in terms of gender, age, social grade and interest. As this is the institutional, I would, in the ideal world, distribute my documentary. I needed the style of my promotional material to match this brand while also connoting the genre, narrative and style of the documentary product itself. Furthermore, I saw it was common convention of TV listing pages and adverts to feature the distribution company logo clearly and prominently to show the audience where they could view the product. As this is the case, all my products, including the documentary, have the Channel 5 logo on. On both my advert and my TV listing page, this logo appears in the bottom left. On my advert and TV listing page, I have also used the date and time the programme will air, as this is a vital convention that represents the needs of the audience who want to know when they will be able to watch the documentary. My advert follows conventions of Channel 5 and documentary adverts in a number of ways. My layout follows common conventions by being simplistic yet exciting. It is dominated by imagery. In the background is an exciting medium low angle shot of one of the players from my documentary looking like he did in his heyday. This image is in colour, which follows Channel 5's advert conventions, as the adverts they distribute are often use a lot of bright primary colours to represent the lower class target audience who are drawn to brash products. The colours of the background image also match all of the football documentary advert colour palettes I looked at, as I have featured pitch green and primary kit colours on the players. This clearly connotes the genre of my documentary and hints the narrative is football related. The mise en scène also followed conventions that represent and attract my audience. I used images that would make the audience realise how high a footballing standard Jamie Lowry played at. If I had used images of him playing at the local park, then my audience would not look anywhere near as professional and I would have probably chosen a different project based on this factor. I feel that professional publications and broadcasting companies are more likely to select my documentary based on the star vehicles that I have chosen, as they are all professional footballers from a wide range of standards all across England. Football fans are more likely to watch a documentary if it is about footballers that are just generally household names. Being fortunate enough to have access to a formal professional player and being able to use him on my marketing should seriously convince my audience that they want to watch my documentary. To show that the documentary narrative would be about life after football, I also included a close-up of my star in the foreground in black and white to connote the narrative would be about the past and the present. This follows genre conventions I had seen on marketing material for some football documentary products. I think it works for the audience through creating a sense of nostalgia that a lot of males feel for past football matches and eras. My choice of title also gives a lot away about the narrative of the documentary, as it is life after football, and this clearly connotes the narrative will be about what happens to players after they had to retire from professional football. My typography follows similar conventions to an adult football magazine font choices, as it is modern, masculine and sporty. I did this intentionally as I wanted typography to connote the genre and attract older male teenagers and adults with an interest in football. If I was aiming for a younger audience, then the typography I would have used a more childish font. I have used serif writing on my advert for other text as well to follow Channel 5 and sporting advert conventions, as it creates a professional appearance that represents my target audience. I've used this font family repeatedly across my products to sell through repetition and make my audience recognise these products belong together. Overall, I'm pleased with the finished results of my advert, as it looks simplistic yet exciting, which is right for my middle lower class male audience, who want to know the product will be informative in an entertaining way. If I made it look too serious by using too much text or by not using exciting images, the advert could have put off my audience, as they may have thought the documentary would be too intellectual or boring for their entertainment needs. My TV listings double page spread is similar in style to the advert and the documentary, as it needed to obviously attract and represent the same audience while selling the product. To learn about the conventions I needed to follow, I researched listings pages in TV Times and TV Choice magazine, along with any articles I could find in football magazines about documentaries. The colour palette is similar to the advert, as I have used modern day colour image of Lowry, a black and white footage of Lowry playing to connote his previous heyday, and a medium colour image of him playing to break up the text slightly and add the visual interest my middle working class male target audience would need. The colour palette follows TV conventions of TV listings magazines, football documentary adverts and Channel 5 promotional material, as there are three main colours, red, white, black and gold, with touches of green to connote the genre, as this is the colour of the football pitch. I chose red and white as these are the England colours, which will create a sense of patriotism that audience will want to buy into, which fits Higson's theory about regional identity. I chose the black and white to connote it as a narrative about the past and present, and used gold to represent the rags to riches aspect of the narrative that my audience will want to buy into. I know these colours work with what my audience want to see, as during my primary research I asked my audience to suggest colours, and these choices were among the most popular, confirming my own opinions formed during my secondary research. The layout fits conventions, as there is a main close-up of image of the main star vehicle on the left, a background image covering the right side of the page, a large, easy-to-see bold title covering 1/3 of the right page, and the article in neat, tidy columns on the right. I also included page numbers to make the magazine seem professional and follow conventions. The title of the article is the same as the documentary, Life After Football, but I've also included a subtitle that is gripping and moving, and a moving quote to hook and represent my audience. From Chesterfield back to college in 4 years, where did it all go wrong? I think the combination of the title and quote that appear in large bold fonts give a blunt, emotive connotation about the style, narrative and tone of the documentary. I think providing this descriptive overview just in the space of a mere few words is right for the target audience demographic, as stereotypically they are not the sort of readers who want to be bombarded with complicated text. They are the types of people who want a dramatic, emotional story told in simple language. The lexicon I've used in the main article follows this theme, and I think connotes that the documentary will be an entertaining, informative, non-fiction narrative about washed-up footballers who have had to find new career paths. I think the tone of my article and the simplistic language I've used both follows conventions of TV listings articles I researched and represents my target audience, who are unlikely to be well educated. My primary target audience will also find the article interesting, as it is basically a synopsis into what my documentary contains. Therefore, if my audience have a rough idea as to what my feature is about, they are more likely to know as to whether they want to watch it or not. By using the words ex-professional in my write-up, I'll be drawing in an audience, because if they want to have good reasoning to watch my documentary, then if they know ex-professional footballers will be in it, that it will be more than likely that they'll want to watch it, as it is obviously something that will interest them if they are football fans. Also, I've not included too much text, which also shows the target audience this article and documentary will represent them, as stereotypically they are not a demographic who want to read too much. I have also included another quote over the image on the right from Lowry. Having to retire at age 26, I wasn't expecting that. This again gives a lot away about the narrative and shows that the target audience that the former professional stars will be in the documentary, making it worth watching. In conclusion, the TV listings page and advert complement the documentary successfully, as they entice the target audience without giving too much away, which shows they both follow conventions of advertising material. I feel that in general, my main and ancillary tasks complement each other very well, as I have taken great care in my planning, production and post-production to carry over many media language similarities in order to ensure a continuity is obvious across my products. Firstly, the title of the documentary, Life After Football, is present on all of my products in a similar typography style. This clearly shows they are all linked. I have also ensured text styles have remained the same or similar across the products, and have not included too much text or complicated language on any of my products. This gives a sense of continuity and represents the demographic of my audience. Secondly, I have used the same main star vehicle, Jamie Lowry, on all of my advertising material and in the documentary. Not only have I used him, I have also used images of him past and present on each piece of work to connect the narrative of the documentary will be about what has happened to him in the last 4 years since he had to stop playing professional football. As I have already discussed, using Lowry is a successful choice for representing and attracting my audience, as his life follows Gandalf's rags to riches story that will interest the target audience, and he is someone they can relate to in terms of age, gender, sexuality and social grade, while also someone they can idolise as he has played professional football and is now a respected coach. On all of my products, I ensure mise-en-scène makes Lowry come across as your stereotypical footballer, a new-age male who fits McKinnon's representation theory as he is well turned out, but also a macho alpha male who fits Gandalf's 2002 masculinity theory as he has been a leader on the pitch and is now a leading coach. This represents all males in the target audience as they can identify with one or both of these stereotypes. In addition, I've used similar mise-en-scène on each product, as the documentary, advert and TV listings page all contain images of Lowry in the present day and of Lowry playing football in the past at competitive level. This connotes the football drama documentary hybrid genre successfully and represents the audience who want a mix of exciting game footage and dramatic interviews. Finally, as I have already discussed, during my response to the first question, I have kept a consistent colour palette of red, white, black, green and occasionally gold across my products. The colour palette follows conventions of TV listings magazines, football documentary adverts and Channel 5 football programme colour palettes. As I said previously, I chose red and white as these are England colours, which will create a sense of patriotism that the audience will want to buy into, which fits Higgs's theory about regional identity. I chose the black and white to connote it as a narrative about the past and use gold to represent the rags to riches aspect of the narrative that my audience will want to buy into. I know these colours will work with my audience as they want to see. As during my primary research, I asked my audience to suggest colours, and these choices were among the most popular, confirming my own opinions formed during my secondary research. Finally, as I also said earlier, all three products carry the Channel 5 logo, which links them while also showing where the programme can be seen while connoting it is of professional quality, as if it was not Channel 5, would never have distributed it in the first place. In conclusion, I couldn't be happier with the way my products complement each other, as I feel I have created a brand image that is right for my product and target audience. It is however worth mentioning that obviously there are some slight variations, as the documentary can also utilise moving image, sound and editing, and the two advertising pieces have to also conform to slightly different conventions relevant to their respective genres.